Hello, this is a helper video for task 3 for the fall 2024 semester. Okay, let's go ahead and get started then. So in this task, we're going to be working with the Great Lakes drownings data, which is available in our Tableau prep folder off of stats class. So you want to get a copy of that file and put it down onto your local computer. All right, so this is the data pipeline that I created in Tableau prep for myself. What I'm interested in is investigating whether or not the drownings that are related to boat are different between the 5 Great Lakes. So that is my question that I'm answering about this data. So boat is going to be the keyword that I'm going to be searching on, and I want to do that across the 5 lakes. So obviously, first step is to bring that data in. This is a text file, so you'll just do that in the standard way. This is that step there. The next thing was, once I have the data in, is to identify whether or not the description contains the word boat. Okay, so I can show you what we did there. So notice that I have a new variable in my data set called boat now. And to see how I did that, that was a calculated field. So I'll show you how I did that here. So here I'm creating that new name boat. Okay, and I am doing an if statement. So if the description contains the word boat here, okay, so I'm searching for boat. I'm using contains instead of find. But if this description contains the word boat, then I'm going to be labeling boat as a yes. If it does not contain the word boat, then it's going to be labeled as a no. So this column, when it is created, is going to have a bunch of no's and yeses in it. The second one right here is going to be, the description contains the word boat because it's got a yes here. Okay, so that's the contains step. Now, if you want to investigate paddleboarding or swimming or beach or whatever you want, then you're going to have a different keyword here than me. All right, now let's do the summarize step. So that's the next thing. The summary step here is just to count up how many drownings had the word boat in it or not for the different 5 Great Lakes. So here, let me shrink this down a little bit. You can see that I'm doing the group fields is going to be body of water and my variable boat. So I'm getting a count or a tally, right, of how many boating accidents were on Lake Huron, how many Lake Huron deaths were not boating accidents. I'm getting that as well. So with the 5 Great Lakes and the yes, no on the boat, I should have 10 rows in this data. And then I'm just getting a count of those. So this is just counting up the number of rows. So that was my summary step. Put body of water and boat in group fields, and then the number of rows was pulled over into the aggregated fields. This next step was necessary because of the way that Excel wants the data in order to do the plotting. So when the number of rows is actually on the left after the summarize step. So what happens is new variables get put onto the left-hand side of your data set. But in Excel, the actual data that's being plotted, Excel wants that on the right. So you can just pick that up and drag it over to the right. And now that's going to be a little bit easier for Excel to do its plotting. So that's that step, is just a reorder of the columns. And then I have the output step that we talked about in class. That output, right, you can just save that output. This table right here is the output. It's going to have 10 rows in it and 3 columns. That's going to get saved into an output file. As soon as I hit run here, right, that's what happens. So now let me go get that data and show it to you. So here is the task 3 data saved into my DSCI 210 folder. And when I open that up inside of Excel, this is what I get here. So maybe make this a little bit easier to read. So this is what the data looks like. This is what I got from Tableau Prep. If I do a highlight this data, say insert, I can make a graph here. Got lots of graphing options. And if we look at this graph, I'll notice right away that my ordering here is kind of all jumbled up. So I got Lake Huron, yes, and then I go Lake Superior, yes, and then I flip back to Lake Huron, no, all the way down. That's kind of annoying. Things aren't close to one another that I'd like to compare. So what I need to do here is before I make that plot, I want to do a little bit of sorting with my data inside of Excel. So to do that, I can highlight this data here and say data, sort, and I want to sort by body of water, and I want to sort by boat here. Okay, so that'll do the sorting. That'll make things a little bit better in terms of what I see when I make my graph. So now notice that I have Lake Erie, no yes, next to one another. I have Lake Huron, no yes, next to one another all the way down. So this is using that Gestalt principle of proximity. Okay, I'm putting things that I want to compare close to one another in some sort of logical order as well. So now when I have that data in a nice logical order, I'm going to do insert, make me a graph, and I should get something that's a little bit more useful to be looking at and comparing. So now I can see Lake Erie, no and yes are next to one another right here. Lake Huron, no or yes next to one another. You could do color coding here if you wanted. So like your yeses could all be a different color compared to all the no's to help separate those. The other thing, or the last thing that I'd like you to do for task number 3 here is just to write a 2 or 3 sentence summary of what you learned from the summaries that you've done for this investigation. Alrighty then, that's all I have for task number 3. Have a good night and see you later.